Welcome to Uipath Training Session 6 Selectors. In this session, we will cover a few contents like what is a selector, types of selectors, identifying UI element, uses of selectors, modifying selectors, and using wildcards in it. So, what is a selector? A selector is basically a plain text that is used to find a particular UI element among the running applications. It consists of an XML fragment specifying a few attributes of the UI element you are looking for and of some of its contents or the parents. So we have two types of selectors. The first one is full selectors and the second one is partial selectors. So the full selector contains all the elements needed to identify a UI element, including the top level window. So it contains the full-fledged information about the element, including their parent information. So it is generated by the basic recorder and always recommended when switching between multiple application windows. And whereas partial selector is generated by the desktop recorder, it doesn't contains information about the top level window. Means there is another activity which we call attach browser or attach window, which contains the parent information, as activities containing partial selectors are enclosed in a container, and then container is attach window or attach browser that contains a full selector of the top level window, means the parent window, parent information about that element. So it is always recommended when performing multiple actions in the same window. And how to identify the elements, uses of selectors, modifying selectors, and using wildcards, we will learn through the practical examples. So let's go back to Uipath Studio. I'm gonna delete this workflows and we'll record. First, we will see the full selector and the partial selectors and how these selectors are being generated. So, as I've already explained in my last video, in the recordings, that we have four type of recorder. Basically, the first basic recorder generates the full-fledged selectors containing the parental information in it. So let's work with simple notepad application. Just let's try to write hello world, press enter and go to the format. And then let's change the font style and the font size and press OK and hit escape. So let's see the sequence. Okay, the first activity was the type into activity and how to identify the selectors and where are the selectors stored. So if you click on any of the activity, you will see the activity pane on the right hand side, and there you will find target option. Then at that option you will find the selectors option. As you can see, this is what we call selectors. Basically, this is the address to the element which we are communicating with. So it contains the parental information as well as the element information which we are communicating with. So if you look at another activities, each activity will have the same kind of selectors, means full-fledged selectors, including the parent name and the window. level information. So if you go back here and try to record the same thing using the desktop recorder, by desktop recorder, and change the format like we did in the basic recorder, and hit escape and save the workflow. And if you look at the workflow, you will find the difference in it. Like it will have one container which we call attach window or attach browser. If you're working with the internet and the browsers, then it will be attach browser activity in here. If you're working with any other window, then it will be an attach window activity here. So if you look at the selector of the attach window activity, it will only contain the information about parent child, parent node, or we can say parent element. So here we can see the window application name, the class name, and the title of the application or the window. And if you look at the child activities, you will see it will contain only the element information which we are communicating with. So this is the main difference between the full selector and the partial selectors. And the partial selectors are always faster than the full selector, because every activity, it only takes time just to identify the application and title and the application parent information, and then the child activities will be executed quickly, because they need not to recognize their parent and all, because the parent has already been recognized by the parent activity, which is attach browser or attach window. So this is the difference between the selectors, full selectors and partial selectors. And I will also show you how to work with the let me write Google here. Okay, I will try to record the web actions as well. CEO of Google, and then press enter. Okay, after enter, we need to get the text from here, and that's all. So let's go to the sequence. And also you can replace this send hotkeys activity, and you can drag it in here, or simply you can use the same one. You need not to use another one. And then the first activity would be this. And if you look at the sequence, you will have attached browser activity, and this also contains the partial selector in it, and the child activities will only have the element information which it is communicating with. So ID is list IB, and then the tag is input tag, and it will write CEO of Google in the text box, and then it will press enter, and then it will get the text out of it, and will show message box. Here, so the value is stored in div, so let's div to string. So let's convert the div to string in order message box to read it. Let's go and run the sequence, attach to stop node, and run it. Here we go. Okay, now we will learn about modifying the selectors. How do we modify the selectors? If I write CEO of Microsoft, would it work? I don't think so. It won't work. So let's see why it won't work. I will play the sequence. Oh, we didn't get the message? Yes, because it couldn't find the element, and it will throw an error after 30 seconds saying that it cannot find the element matching the selector. So let's wait for the error and then we will fix it. Here we go. So why it cannot find the element? If I go back, so till here it will work properly because everything is same and the selector is fine. But here the selector is static. Means it should be dynamic in order to work with all kind of searches and the actions which we are performing in this window. Here we can see the window means it is hard-coded or it is static selector. So how we can change it? If I go click on attach to live element and I select this, it is no longer valid, it's still not working. If I open the UI Explorer, it won't open because it will ask me to validate it first. Okay, I'm still not able to do it. What I can do is, if I click here, right click here and inspect the element, if somehow I can get the unique identity of this element, then I can do it. I can achieve this task, I guess. Okay, here we go. We got the class name. So I'm just copying it and going back to the selector. I don't want this till here. I can simply delete it, and then CLS means class, and then single quotes we can just write the class name. I guess that's it. Now it's good to go, I guess. So this is how you can modify the selector, but let's test it first whether it's working or not. Let me go back to the window, and now I'll click it here. Oh, CU or no, it should be off. Okay, let's CU off. And then, do we have any selector in here? No, we don't. And see, is there any issue with it? If I go to selector, it's titled Google. Also, we can attach to the live element. Okay, this is the high level window, which contains the title. The title is Google. Okay. Okay, let's try to run it for Google first, and then we will see what happens. Sundar Pichai. Oh, it is not recognizing the element. Also, let's right click here and inspect the element. See if it's the same class in it. Yes, the class is same. Okay, but now what is the problem in it? I understood it because the parent window has been fixed. Okay, div. It says it's unidentified. Do not show this message again. If you see here, look at the, okay. Alright, let's try to attach to the live first. Okay, this is no longer valid, of course. And if I indicate it on screen, what it gets, okay, the parent ID is UID in the class. Alright. I think something is wrong in it. So basically what we can is we can use the get element or get text from here. We can put it in here and we can, okay, yes, and then Yes, selector is valid now, and you can attach to live element. Before going there, we can attach to live element and check it whether it is valid or not. Okay, and how we can make it dynamic? Let's try to do it. Class is this, tag is div. Okay, still some issues with it. To okay, sorry, we didn't generate the output variable in here, which is value and the toString. Okay, all right, try to attach live element. Yeah, we need to get it first. We need to select the element first, and then we can try to make it valid using this. Okay, and we can open the UI Explorer now, and let's see what we have for this element as an alternative. Okay, well, we can use it. We can use parent class is this. You can use this. Okay, so this is how you can modify your selector. So now we have class. We can use class. We can remove this name, means automation name. Why? Because this is static. Next time when we put Microsoft, this will be different. So how we can make it dynamic? You use the static controls only. Can also remove it. Okay, now let's see what kind of selectors we get. Yes, it looks fine. And let's try to copy it here and go back to the browser. Let's rerun it. Here we go. So what we did is, like, we have the options to modify it. And how do you modify it? If you go to the selector window, you open the UI Explorer. You will find this window which we call Uipath Explorer, means UI Explorer. There you can modify your selectors, and you can choose the static controls in order to make it dynamic. Means don't choose the controls which are static, like the names or the values particularly. So you can remove them and you can choose the only values or the controls which are static, which can make it dynamic. Okay, so this is how you modify the element. And now what we're gonna test it with the CEO of Microsoft. Let's see whether it works or not. So here we go. So this is how you can make it dynamic and you can modify your selectors. So now we're gonna learn wildcard characters or wildcard in UI selectors. So let's go back to the notepad, and so this was the basic recording which we created. I will run it. Hello world. Okay, working good, fine. What if I change the name of this notepad to Uipath T instead of text? Would it still work? I don't think so. So it will throw an error if it won't be able to identify the element, because it cannot match the selectors. Now I will show why it's not able to identify the selector. Let's wait for the error. Okay, cannot find the element. Okay, what needs to be changed? If you click here, choose the selector, and here you can see it is static. Means it can only work with the UiPath test -notepad. It won't be able to work with other open notepads or other open the different titled notepads. So how you can make it dynamic? Because I give you one scenario, like you are saving it with the dates. Let's do one thing. Let's try to save it with the date. I'm just saving it with the random date, like it's 17/04/2018, right? If I work with it, I will create one new sequence and I'll show you how it makes the difference. I'll delete this and I'll create another basic recorder. Okay, click here. Hello world by basic recorder, and click on format. Okay, and hit escape. Save it. So this is the basic. Let me set it to the start node. Let me revert the changes. And let's try to run it. Okay, I guess I have changed one options there, and okay, let me re-record the sequence first. Or in order to make changes, you can just simply edit the workflow. I will click, I will wait, I need to click here. Okay, I guess that's fine. Let's try to run this workflow. Okay, yeah, here we go. So now if I look at the selectors, what would I find is this static thing. Because now if I have to do some work and I'll save it with today's date, means it won't work, my automation won't work tomorrow, right? If I need to amend some text in it, put some new records, or edit the data today and I'll save it with today's date, it won't work. Why? Because each and every time the workflow will be saved with the current date, so automation will fail. So how we can make it dynamic? So instead of the date, we should consider the only things which we have static, like notepad will always be static. This will always be static. Only the dynamic part is this. So we need to make it dynamic in order to work every day so that our automation won't fail. And how we can do it? We have another feature which is asterisk, or sorry, the wildcard. So we have two types of wildcard. One is asterisk. It is for like to replace the string, and then we have question mark to replace a single character. So let's try to do one thing. If I place question mark instead of here, it will only work if that the first character will changes every day. What if it changes this entire string, this string? What if the string will be changed, the entire date will be changed? Then we need to use asterisk. Okay, if asterisk here, so like it's a basic recording, so we need to change the asterisk here. Okay. Alright, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this to the different date, like 18. Also, I'll show you one example. Okay, I will save it and I'm gonna revert the select. Okay, here we didn't change anything. Here we changed and I'm gonna revert it. Okay, I'll show you in the next action. So let's try to run it. So now the date is different, and we modify the selector with the asterisk. Here we go, it is recognized it. And we have another option, which is a question mark. Like we know for the month, the only I know the only one character will change every time, and I'm sure there is only one character which changes every day, every time, and every month. So there we can use only question mark instead of using asterisk. So let me record this the same sequence. Hello world. Okay, hit escape, save it. So my sequence is based on my selector is based on this static selector. Now I know if tomorrow I'll change on the date to 19, right? So it should work. So what I can do is I can replace this with question mark. If I change it to 15, 14 or something, then it still should work. So let's do it for all the activities. Question mark. Okay, let's go back to the sequence and attach it to the start node. And let's do one thing. Let's save it 15th of April and revert the changes. Okay, let's see whether it will work or not. Here we go. It's still working. Yes, so this is how we can use the wildcard characters, what we call wildcard parameters, basically just to when we are not sure, when we need to make the titles or the names dynamic, then we use it in order to avoid the automation failure. So we have two types of asterisk. We have two types of wildcards. One is okay. This is the preceding action here. The click. We didn't change it. Okay. So we have two types of wildcards. One is asterisk to replace the string, and we have showed you that how to replace the string, that replace the entire date to asterisk. Then whatsoever date will be there, it won't fail. And if we are sure that the only one character needs to be changed every time, then we can use the question mark a wildcard to replace one character. So this was all for the day, and thank you so much for watching.